Bad movie drinking game. 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 Bad movie drinking game.
I was given life 200 years ago. I am like none other.
We will tear this monster apart and unleash the forces of darkness. You cannot destroy me.
This ends tonight.
Welcome to Bad Movie Drinking Game, the show where we watch a bad movie and build you a drinking game so you can enjoy the film to its fullest potential. I am your host, Kurt, and with me are my friends, Franklin.
Hello.
Krista.
Hi.
And Sam. Today we are watching the 2014...
I, Frankenstein.
Drink. Good. Friends. Good.
Fire bad. Actually, fire in this movie's good, but we'll get to that later.
I saw it in the theater. No one would go with me, so I forced my roommate to go. And he was pleasantly surprised because it's awesome.
And I cannot believe you didn't see this one, Sam.
See, I saw the Dean Koontz Frankenstein that premiered on the USA Network,
Is that
which
recent?
no one else apparently saw. So if this is better or worse than that, that's my grading.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
I have to take your word.
Krista, you love this movie. and I gotta be honest, it's not a good movie, but I love it too.
It doesn't even need a plot.
It's the perfect type of bad movie for now. We live in a time of cynicism and darkness where anybody with a camera and a contractual obligated role for Ian Ziering can throw together some piece of shit and put it on Sci-Fi Channel and go, oh, it's funny because it's bad. And that's not bad. You made it bad. You made it bad on purpose. And this is a movie that somebody dreamed of. We're going to talk about, I mean, this is a man's dreams. A very large, comically large man. And I don't mean fat, he's just of large size. He's almost like a monster himself.
Like Hagrid?
Yeah, he's like Hagrid, and he's just as joyful. And he gifted us this whatever this is. It's so weird, guys. No one ever said no to anything in the making of this movie. No one.
This is what dreams are made of.
Sweet dreams are made of this.
This is a shitty follow-up to Underworld because Underworld is a shitty movie and this was a follow-up to it. They failed because this is amazing and fun. Thank you.
It failed upwards.
That's what a bad movie should be. It should be someone's honest vision that just didn't quite reach it. And that's why I love this, because there's no attempt at making something corny and ridiculous. There's no Anaconda versus Lorenzo Lamas in this. This is dreams right here.
I was trying to find a way to turn Frankenstein into an action hero after I've had success with turning monsters on their ear with Underworld.
This is cinema, what it should be. I mean, it should be when it fails, I guess. Right, Franklin?
Yeah. Well, the thing about this movie specifically is that what I think it does is it takes the typical superhero slash sci-fi formula and it breaks it down to its bare essentials, and then it just plugs in Frankenstein and says, have at it.
Yeah, it seems totally, like, added to the plot.
The movie is its own Frankenstein's monster.
It's alive. It's alive!
First of all, let's go ahead and go over the rules of tonight's episode. For the film, I, Frankenstein, our first rule will be, anytime a demon or a gargoyle shapeshift into their native forms, you will take a drink.
Anytime there is a reference to the source material.
A life for a life. That's what I wanted. I took that of his beloved new bride.
Or they expand upon the mythology of Frankenstein.
Eels.
What was that?
Electric eels. That's where he got his power from.
Take a drink.
Anytime someone leaps,
Or anytime anybody breaks glass.
you take a drink.
Anytime anyone is mopey.
What happens? Do you just sit there in sadness? No, you deal with it like a man. You take a drink.
Bring me Frankenstein's monster.
Sit back, relax, turn down your lights, grab your popcorn and your scary candies, and just get some booze and enjoy this with your friends. I'm drinking rum tonight. and also a choice of our fair damsel. It makes you sound like you're like in distress. I don't
I
like
know,
that.
right?
You're
I'm like Princess Peach, but with rum.
exactly.
Is that some sort of Bacardi flavor?
Last time I had rum, Franklin's eyes blew up and turned red.
I look like Frankenstein's monster.
He did. He keeps tying it back to the source. That's why I love this guy.
Drink. That's one of the rules.
That is one of the rules. Thank you.
Ah.
This is gonna be a fun experience. Kurt and Liquor are having a thing where like an ex-girlfriend calls you and it's like, you want to meet at Waffle House and like talk it over and see if maybe we can work this out again. And it's not gonna work out again, but you know, I'm gonna enjoy it while it's there. So that's stop laughing at my metaphors. Enjoy.
Metaphor bad.
Enjoy Frankenstein, comma I. That's how it would be listed in reverse order in a phone book. Thank you.
Because his first name is I?
His first name is I.
I care not for the world of man.
Yes, we have heard the stories of you. Shunned by your human
Has he
creator.
only been alive for like a year or something?
Yeah.
You would be welcome here.
She's already heard the stories though.
Ask that you stay.
Also, angels are perfectly cool with murderers, I guess.
Of course.
Of demons.
Also, that
You're
looks
talking
like...
about that right now, Sam.
Did he stay gone for the entire 200 years?
Yes.
Why does none of this baffle him?
Demons have descended.
They couldn't even get Sam Worthington. It's just like a knockoff.
He's the new Sam Worthington. That's, don't you know?
Still no humans know about this.
It's the impractical weapon of all time.
Why did you just have an axe? You can tell a cheap set when they have plastic hanging on things.
I hate when you go to the back of the grocery store and use the bathroom. This is what you find.
Corpses to tear of the world.
Conscious possessed by demons.
Silly. One of my least favorite tropes in movies is the fire axe. I've never seen a fire axe outside of Firehouse Subs.
I don't know if that makes Firehouse Subs like the most dangerous place to get subs or the safest.
If demons attack and you're in a firehouse, you're good. He transformed his hand to strangle that man.
Hey, just driving by, say hey, bye.
Now summoned from hell.
I like the fact you can be 92% reanimated.
Oh, look.
Hey, Frankenstein. Hey, look down there.
So not very.
Look at that shit.
So Frankenstein's monster exists.
Yes.
But does he exist on like the same level as like Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot?
Not in that world.
Well, he seems to be a legend like those characters
I mean,
are. in
yeah,
this
but I mean,
movie.
who's he a legend to? Because I mean, it doesn't give you the impression. It doesn't give you the impression that any humans have ever seen him.
It doesn't give you the impression that they're human.
But he's.
What I mean is,
He
okay.
seems to be a more believable character because
Well, he's
They
believable
brought-
to us because it's titled Frankenstein.
they brought the scientific expert at the film, the book, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is totally real." But I'm
No, but-
assuming that if you brought her like, I don't know, like a documentation of how Loki was made, she would just be like, "Really? I don't know," because Loki probably didn't write this since Loki supposedly doesn't have.
I get the opinion that she's pretty. She's gonna believe anything that has pictures to
You
it.
think she'd believe Loki?
I think she's got a copy of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and she's like,
Chewbacca?
"These people are out to get us. This is terrible."
She'd
Okay,
believe in
whatever.
the chupacabra.
They find one of those every year, man. They get them in captivity. It's true. There's video on Fox News.
They're real.
That'd be like if someone was fishing in Loch Ness for a monster but didn't believe about the existence of Nessie.
There is no Loch Ness Monster, but there might be a giant aquatic beast in this particular lake.
What I need to know is when you bring a rat back to life,
I know.
does it have to be shaved? Does it have to be sutured?
If they were
Because none of the
successful
tubes do that.
in bringing a rat back to life,
Yes.
why couldn't they have just waited a few more months and gotten on their own? Why did they have to do all this nonsense to get a
Because
like the Frankenstein?
as the lady
creature?
dressed up as a scientist for Sexy Halloween said, she said, "The human body is very complex and but I'm wearing nude flats."
Frankenstein was supposedly pieced together perfectly.
From 8 different bodies.
From
Did you
per-
say that?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
somehow
we
missed
talked over
that.
it.
It's from
Talked
8
over.
different internet carts.
So he's supposedly pieced together because not every part of the body at the time was fresh. So they had to take fresh parts or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So the rat in the lab presumably.
Is he an amalgam of other rats?
Why would he be cut open? Because I would assume that they killed him and then he was fresh and they did that. So, and then the man that they tried the same thing.
Carl the scientist is also killed in this film, and she tries to bring him back, and suddenly he's just sutured all up.
Yeah, is he not fresh enough? Do they have to get fresher parts from the freshly dead guy?
Maybe
choked to death, so maybe we needed some new lungs.
See, it's possible that the other scientist, they had to give him the V autopsy thing because he had like maybe he had a lot of angioplasty, and they had to before they brought him back to life, they figured they'd go ahead and take care of that for the demon that was going to inhabit him later.
This pacemaker won't work when we juice it full of electricity.
I mean, I can understand with the scientist more than the rat, because scientists, like in movies, typically are alcoholics, and so he might have had cirrhosis of the liver, but the rat should have been perfectly fine.
Why didn't one of the demons try to take over the rat?
In fact, that seems like a great sequence that should have been in this movie. Should have been a demonic rat fighting Frankenstein.
They didn't put the
rats
blood
did
pentagram.
cause the plague. They totally could have played that up.
Well, I love that it involves so much quasi-science, but then all you have to do to put a demon into it is just paint a blood pentagram on their head, and that will attract a demon.
I know, I thought he scratched it in, but then Frankenstein or Adam was just like, wipe.
I really wanted him to explode, and I was like, well, thank you for smoking.
This is one of those movies that, like, it doesn't matter if he is good. Like, Aaron Eckhart's like, I got to work out, I got in shape.
Super hot. Girls like scars.
I got to try something new. I was in, like, an Eastern European country, so there were just whores everywhere. Like, I bet you Aaron Eckhart had a lot of fun making
I don't care what anyone says. This looks like, yes, it looks like it's a really fun movie to make. And granted, it's like lace. Like, plot holes galore, but it's super fun.
Absolutely, that's why we're watching it here today.
Like, this movie never ever gets boring because there's never enough time for it to get boring. We have CG demons smashing through windows and throwing people.
It almost lulls, and then there's a pipe fight.
Yeah.
It's relentlessly paced.
The longest amount of time between fire.
There's always something exploding into demon fire.
The city is nothing but giant cathedrals and empty abandoned buildings.
What city are they in? Where are they?
It's supposed to be a secret war that's really big with lots of explosions, and they're in a big city, and why has no one noticed any of this?
Why did the demons' faces burn off and then come back? If the skin is burnt off, how do they regenerate?
I'm thinking they regenerate really quickly. Like, really quickly.
They only last like 98 minutes.
They have to really concentrate, though, to regenerate.
Which is why they let
it takes like 30
burn it
seconds.
off, because they have to focus on fighting. Because they do always turn into...
But they wouldn't look scary. Because it gives probably like a kind of a debuff.
It's striking fear.
It gives
in
the
heart of
debuff
enemies.
to the other person, and they get the whole like cowardice thing.
Do you think that there was a smarter version of this on paper and it got dumbed down through filming, or do you think this is the vision?
I think there was a crappy angel gargoyle versus demon movie in which they had to throw in a recognizable figure that was public domain.
Yeah, because he sells the concept.
You know
what I think is Kevin Grievous, the writer of this and Underworld, probably wrote down the story and is like, this is all the stuff I want to include in my story. And then he wrote an outline and they filmed it.
Like an outline like you do in college. Like just an outline. Like
Story
1,
structure.
2, 3, A, B, C. Like, you know. And they were just like, yeah, fuck it.
This has the effects of like a really badly improvised story. They're like, yeah, and then there's a thing, and then there's a thing. How do they work together? Well, easy. They negate themselves. Oh, we're done. Like, nobody ever thought, like, maybe we should go back and write this. This is all first draft.
Could they have replaced Frankenstein with any other universal monster except for maybe the Gillman and it come out exactly the same?
I'm a monster. I keep raping, and I can't breathe this dirty air.
I would have loved to see the Invisible Man doing this.
Well, no.
Well, I wouldn't have seen the Invisible Man doing
Do
this.
they live for hundreds of years?
When you're injected full of invisible fluid, you do. It drives you mad and immortal.
As the only female here, I am a little curious as to why the only surviving female looked
There were
like...
two. Well, the other one's a gargoyle. She's not technically a female.
The scientist
Tara.
lady that was the obvious plot device to make Frankenstein be human and nothing else. Like, she was just a plot device.
Well, at least she wasn't a sex object.
She was a sex object and a plot device, because this objectifying her was what made Frankenstein get a soul, because he wants to have sex with her so badly that he develops a soul.
But
And
notice
then
he's still standing alone, swinging his sticks around at the end of the movie.
I know, right?
That's a masturbation joke.
The
Hitchcock.
only really, really superbly shitty-looking gargoyle is
the Queen.
the Queen, and she looks terrible. And has no obvious powers other than she can supposedly commune with God. But
And
I mean,
she looks way too different as well.
doesn't even look too different. She looks too cartoony and too CGI and too awful.
Well, they all look bad, but she looks like
a 1990s video game.
she looks like when the Ninja Turtles had that live action TV show and they added
Video
Venus
game.
de Milo and she has shell boobs.
The one girl died because she loved her man so much she just had to ascend with him. 3 female characters, and they're all bad.
None of them talk to each other except for the. Well, no, wait. Does the angels? They do talk about Yeah, they talk about Frankenstein, so they do talk about a man. This film does not pass the Bechdel test.
To be fair, there's not really any male characters either.
That's true. They're all
I
deep.
don't even think the guys talk to each other than anything that doesn't involve Frankenstein.
To be fair, yes, the male characters suck really badly as well. However, there are only 3 female characters, and they're all awful.
Well, it's not called Frankenstein.
That's true. You know, vaginas.
She's able to successfully begin to reanimate Carl because then that data is then transferred to the creepy guy from the Road Warrior. And he is like, oh, got the data now. And he's able to reanimate all the dead bodies that they put or demon into it. Yeah, that's kind of the plot. Don't think too hard about it. But when they come in and rescue, they rescue the girl. They rescue Adam Frankenstein. They forget about Carl. Carl's now alive, and they let him die in rubble again. Carl dies twice in this film.
Yeah, but Carl's not like a real person.
But isn't he the only man in the movie?
He technically, yes.
Yeah.
And the cop that gets killed.
Hell yeah.
There are all those boys in the subway that are trying
There's a
to make out
handful
with
of people
girls.
that may or may not be angels or demons. We're not expressly told that they aren't.
It's pretty obvious in this movie. Adam Frankenstein's a virgin, right?
Yeah, I mean, his dick could have come from anyone.
He might be like a virgin. He's planning on being touched for the very first time.
I would actually give this an Academy Award for the most morally ambiguous figures of good. Because the angels in this movie, or the gargoyle angels, angel goyles,
They're very realpolitik.
very flip-floppy in terms of whether or not they should kill him, whether or not,
Trap him?
yeah, they should trap him.
Or use him.
Yeah.
And they switch back and forth constantly.
Which are all very angelic.
And it doesn't matter whether they're trying to kill him or not. As soon as they die, they get to go to heaven.
My Academy Award would be the Academy Award for Best Costume Design. And it was awarded to this movie for Kevin Smith's great work in dressing our hero. This guy looks like he walked off the set of Dogma. He's wearing a hoodie underneath a trench coat with the hood out. Hood's just out in the beginning.
I keep wondering where you got those jeans.
But yeah, then he's wearing jeans, a t-shirt, a hoodie, and then a trench coat over that. He's wearing layers.
I mean, he killed homeless people.
He's wearing like this standard issue, like I'm a pilgrim shirt in the beginning. Like he's dressed like Solomon Kane.
But he also had a trench coat with built-in stick holsters
Give me a
before he got the sticks.
And the sticks are supposed to be like too heavy to wield, and they didn't tear any holes in that really awesome homeless person's coat.
What's your Academy Award for this movie?
Demonic special effects.
That's just there's no irony involved there. Okay.
They didn't do any bodily special effects except for the occasional hand shot.
And stitches.
And stitches, which made no sense at all. Like, the stitches were ridiculous, and we discussed them at length, because there was absolutely no reason for the rat to have stitches, because I assume he was fresh. There was no reason for the strangled man to have the whole suture thing, because why? unless he had, you know, lupus.
I was thinking more Terminator. I gotta give you stitches in bed thing.
Didn't make any sense at all.
They have stitches because they apparently cut out where the soul is.
Yeah.
So the demons can take over the body because they have to remove the soul.
They removed the 21 grams.
Yes, the 21 grams, that is necessary.
Okay, so why were the demon heads so large in comparison to their bodies?
They were compensating for the lack of soul.
I would give this the award for best jigsaw puzzle of a movie. I mean, the pieces, God help them, they don't fit, but they jam them together and it paints a beautiful disaster piece of a portrait.
Oh, you mean the inner lining of the Frankenstein diary that looks like a blur of garbage?
Anytime I'm trying to get someone to watch I, Frankenstein after I'd seen it, this is how I describe it. There's fire and gargoyles that turn into Romans and vice versa, and demons who burst into flames. And what else do you need, really? And there's fighting.
You need Frankenstein.
I feel like the movie was written before they knew they could use Frankenstein.
They know that, like, I've already told them that it's called I, Frankenstein. So
I
I feel
would
like
like
they
to
already know
say-
he's there.
This should have really been I, comma, Frankenstein, question mark. Hi, Frankenstein?
Bad Movie Drinking Game. My name's Kurt.
I, Franklin.
I, Krista.
Not it.
But wiser, you created a monster, and they call him Frankenstein. And the tavern down the street is the laboratory where he makes the transformation all the time. And a stein of Dr. Blood is a pint of monster blood, and it does affect me different every time. But wiser, you created a monster, and they call me Frankenstein. And they call me Frankenstein. Yeah.
I wish the movie had ended with her saying, "You, Frankenstein."
Yeah, that would be almost better than him saying I, Frankenstein.
Took his daddy's name.
The movie is its own Frankenstein's monster.
In a way, it kind of feels like I listen to a lot of D&D podcasts, and I think your metaphor is way better because it makes sense to the movie. But I'm going to continue with my terrible one. So I listen to a lot of D&D podcasts, and it's very much boring the death out of Sam. It's very much like this elaborately constructed world that the Dungeon Master has created, and then some like haphazard character that someone's thrown into it.
Like this.
What?
He turns it onto his ear. I can't do the voice anymore.
Who you trying
I'm
to do?
trying to do the writer again.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to keep you from doing your story.
That's probably a good idea.